According to Google Maps, this drive should have taken about 5.5 hours. Monterrey, Mexico to San Antonio, Texas. Simple enough. What Google Maps did not account for was the border. I'm an American heading back into the United States through the Colombia Solidarity Bridge. On paper, this is a routine crossing. In reality, it turned into a 15-hour drive, nearly 10 of those spent moving at what could only be described as a historical walking pace. This wasn't traffic in the traditional sense. This was a stationary community. Engines idling, drivers shutting cars off to save fuel, some people running so low on gas they weren't sure they'd even make it to the checkpoint. Day turned into night. Night turned into more waiting. And somewhere in that line between frustration, boredom, and the quiet disbelief, you realize everyone here is having the same experience, just from a different car. This video isn't about politics or policy, it's about what it's actually like to cross the border on a day when everything slows to a crawl, and what happens to your mindset when 5.5 hours turns into 15. The drive to the border starts off smooth and quietly, something that might give you an undeserved sense of optimism. It's daytime, the road is clear, and progress is not measured in miles, but in toll booths. About 5 of them spaced out just far enough to keep you moving. Stopping and moving again. I paid cash at every one, not because I had to, but because I wasn't interested in finding out what didn't work when there was a line behind me. Most of the tolls were routine, 45 pesos in and out. Then one of them suddenly jumps into the 300s, which feels less like a toll and more like a reminder that this trip is going to have opinions about your budget. Between the tolls, the landscape stretches out. Long, empty roads, open fields that seem to go on forever. For a brief stretch, the road cuts through some low mountains, just enough elevation and rock to make the drive feel scenic. Even calm. It's the kind of scenery that encourages optimism. But somewhere in those empty stretches, it becomes clear that this is the last part of the trip where you're going to have any control. Once you reach the border, your schedule belongs to someone else. So instead of rushing or stressing or checking the clock, I did the only thing that made sense. I shut down emotionally and prepared for the worst. Not panicked, just realistic. Looking back, that may have been the most accurate decision of the entire drive. This is where the traffic stops being theoretical and starts becoming real. It begins slowly, a few brake lights, then more. Before long, we're barely moving at all. And at this point, I'm still committed to the far right lane because my GPS is confident, very confident, that I'll be turning right to reach the Banjercito. And that's the office that you have to go to cancel your temporary import permit if you brought a car into the country. You definitely want to stop there because they're going to give you hundreds of dollars back depending on what you paid for your deposit. Off to my left is an empty lane. No cars, no movement, just sitting there. And in border traffic, an empty lane doesn't mean faster. It means it's empty for a reason. Closed lane, lane ends, a future mistake. So I stayed put. An hour goes by, then closer to 2, and eventually I get close enough to finally see the sign for the Banjercito. Not close enough to act calmly, but close enough to realize the problem. The Banjercito is on the left. The empty lane, the one that I've been politely ignoring for hours, is exactly where I need to be. The GPS was wrong, and the sign explaining the fact was placed so far ahead that it might as well have been a spoiler. At this point, there's no elegant solution, no turn signals, no negotiations. I slowly impose my way across traffic one lane at a time, counting on the universal border rule that nobody wants the paperwork from an accident right here. No horns, no gestures, no reactions at all. Just quiet acceptance. And then suddenly the traffic disappears. I move straight into the Banjercito lane and roll right up, bypassing hours of waiting I never actually had to do. What I did have was relief and frustration, and the strong suspicion that this will not be the last lesson of the day. The Banjercito itself is almost anticlimactic. After hours of confusion and lane math, the actual process takes minutes. I hand an attendant a copy of my temporary import permit. He steps outside, takes a photo of the VIN number in the corner of my windshield, prints a receipt, and tells me I'll get my deposit back in 2 days. That's it. No line, no drama, just paperwork, a camera, and a quiet sense of closure. Then I leave the Banjercito and immediately realize what comes next. There's no shortcut back into traffic, no merging point, no gentle re-entry. The road funnels me forward, away from the border, and away from the progress I just made. I spot a few breaks in the median, places where U-turns seem possible, logical even. So I try, and each time Mexican traffic employees step in, block the turn, and wave me onward. No explanations, just very clear body language that says you're not going to be doing that here. So we move on past every possible return point, past the last sign of congestion, until the traffic finally ends completely, and then we turn around. When I re-enter the lane, it's not in the middle, it's not even close. It's all the way at the back, all the way at the end, the starting point. Again. By the time I'm fully settled back into my lane, the sun is starting to drop. The light changes and so does the mood. The traffic isn't moving much, but it's calm. Almost relaxed, at least on the surface. And when traffic stays still long enough, it stops feeling like a line and starts feeling like a temporary neighborhood. Street vendors walk between the cars completely at ease. They're selling food and drinks, weaving past bumpers like this is a normal part of rush hour. Others are offering belts, ponchos, hammocks, guacamole bowls, random gift shop items that make you wonder how long this line has to exist for an economy like this to develop. People step out of their cars to stretch, trade seats, or even walk their dogs. No one looks rushed. Everyone looks like they've accepted the situation, even if they're clearly not happy about it. Up ahead, some people aren't as lucky. A few cars run out of gas and actually have to be pushed forward. I'm sure it was very frustrating for them. At this point, everyone around understands how it happens. We've all been waiting in this line for way longer than we thought we were. I didn't buy anything from the vendors. I just watched from the dash cam, checked my fuel gauge, and realized I'm still in good shape. As light fades into dusk, having enough gas feels like a small victory and a reminder that this wait is far from over. Finally, I reached the end of the Solidarity Bridge. Signs line the approach warning of low-level x-rays that will scan the entire car. The line has been funneled down into basically a single lane at one point. Only one car can approach the checkpoint at a time. After hours of crawling, the pace now feels ceremonial, like a quiet procession towards a gate that's been both promised and feared. I hand my passport to the border agent. He asks if I'm an American citizen, takes the passport inside his little building for a few seconds, then just as quickly returns it and waves me through. It's over. Done. Relief washes over me so fast I almost forget the absurdity of what just happened. After 10 hours of crawling, confusion, and U-turns, the hardest part of the drive is finally behind me. And yet somewhere between the orderly line of cars, the quiet x-ray warning signs, and the agent's brief glance at my passport, it's impossible not to notice how surreal it is. You wait for so long for this moment, and then it's gone in the blink of an eye. I drive away from what I now know is the first checkpoint, and onto the darkest road I've ever seen. No streetlights, no businesses, nothing but asphalt stretching into the night, bordered by trees that I only know exist because my headlights reveal them. A handful of other cars dot the road, their beams cutting through the darkness like distant stars. And that's it. Silence, isolation, and the faint hum of my engine. Unbeknownst to me, there's another checkpoint ahead. Faster this time, no lines, no passport scanning. I have my passport in my hand anyways, just in case. There's border agents here, and then there's police officers that are in regular police uniforms asking only two questions. Are you a US citizen, and is anyone else in the car? That's it. A blink, a nod, and I'm free to continue down the dark, desolate road. About 30 minutes past the Solidarity Bridge, the first gas station finally appears. And suddenly the emptiness vanishes. Cars everywhere, people stretching their legs, filling up tanks, grabbing hot food, resting after the ordeal at the border. It's lively. It's chaotic in comparison to the road I just left. And now it actually feels like we've kind of made it. From here it's quiet, uneventful 2-hour drive into San Antonio. My body is exhausted. Every muscle protests. Every thought is a calculation. Food, bed, sleep. I pull up to the hotel I picked up 3 nights for $170. Honestly, I didn't expect much, but what I find is perfect. Almost no one else is staying here. The parking lot is virtually empty. The room is big, clean, the bed is comfortable in a way that feels almost indulgent after a day like this. Also, there was free Wi-Fi and breakfast, but they're not paying me to say that, so they get no sponsorship. Okay, fine, it was the Sure Stay Best Western in San Antonio. I collapse into the mattress, finally off the road, finally free of the borderline, and feel an almost ridiculous sense of victory. 15 hours, one very long drive, a few unexpected checkpoints, and I'm here. Safe, rested, and finally able to process the absurdity of the day. Now, if you want to know what it's like going back across the border, I plan on making that drive in just a couple of days. So please subscribe, like this video if you think it'll help you cross the border, and I'll hope to see you on the road. Bye.